right, so today I'm going to show you a simple printing technique that you can show your students. I haven't tried this with acrylic paint. I'm using actual printer's ink. It's a water-based ink that I have here, but I'm sure that you could experiment with different techniques and different materials. All right, so this is actually a transfer process, and it's used to make, you can make copies, but I would consider it still a monotype print because you're not doing an exact replica. So what I have here is I have my blank paper I'm going to print on, and then really all you need are some scrap sheets of paper. Any sort of paper will do. If you want something to be a little bit more detailed, maybe like a thin sheet of paper like this. The cool thing about this project is you could actually print out a picture from the computer and trace it and have that be your transfer print. But today I'm just going to show you how to transfer just a doodle. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to spread out some of your ink. I've already got some spread out because I did this a little bit beforehand, right? But I'll add some more on there. I've added a little bit of oil to my ink so that it's just slightly sticky. So once you have your ink evenly spread out and on your brayer here, you're going to just add it to your page. And the cool thing about this process is it really doesn't have to be exact. It really doesn't have to be perfect. So I actually have a lot of ink on here, so we'll see how this works out. Now, I could do my transfer right now. I could lay my paper over and draw on this side and it would transfer on. But then there would be a lot of excess ink around the edges. Now, if you want that look, you can totally do that. But if not, if you want more clean edges, you can take some talcum powder or BB powder, put a little bit on my brush here, and just gently tap it around where you spread the ink. Now I'm using a really cheap brush because I can also sort of use it to spread the ink like this. This brush probably won't be used for anything else just because of the ink that transfers onto it. So spread it around a little bit like that. And I don't really want any of this to show up, so I'll put even more powder. So if there's parts of the paper that you put ink on and you really don't want it to show up on your page, the key is just to really cover that with the talcum powder. And it sort of soaks up the ink a little bit so it won't show up. All right, so now we are ready to transfer. For this process, you can use any sort of tool. I could even use my finger if I wanted to, but I'm going to use a pen just so I can see what I'm drawing. All right. So I'm just going to do a little doodle here, little wave doodle. Draw a little sun up here. Now the good thing about this process is that the ink is really not going to dry very fast. So if you really want to get detailed, you could probably take a little bit more time. However, I would suggest taping it down so you don't move your project. Obviously, I'm just doing something really quick here. Maybe I'll put some little lines up here to see how they appear. So this part of my page is actually the part that I think I put a little bit more powder on, so we'll see how that shows up. So let's check the reveal. All right, so there it is. As you can see, there's some places here that had a lot of ink, and could probably have used a little bit more powder if I wanted my image to be more defined. So over here there was less ink and a lot more powder, right? So when you do that, if you do want definition, you do have to press a little bit harder with your writing utensil. Okay, but the cool thing about this process is that you can transfer it onto almost anything. I have some examples here. Let me move this so I don't get them messed up. So here is an example of a transfer onto fabric. And what I actually did with this image is I printed out the image on a large printer. Really cheap image, not very well defined, and I transferred it onto the fabric. This is just regular cotton. And here's an example of what it looks like when you transfer it onto more of a silky fabric. Let me move that. Don't get it messed up. Right. I'm not sure if you can see that very well in the video, but if you notice on the silky fabric, the fabric really soaks up the ink and it has these really awesome bubbled effects on it. So this would be a really great process for you to just experiment with, try different materials, see what transfers, what doesn't, add more talcum powder, add more ink, try different colors. But yeah, that's it.